Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Valence League here for Split 3. We're here for a Division 3 matchup. In fact, it's game 1, I believe, of this entire division. And before we get into that, of course, my name is Samuel Initialized Hapgood. I'm joined by Alexander Nymera Hapgood. And we're talking about Horizon Light versus TKDS.
The
Them of
acronym.
many different acronym actual names.
I'm going to throw it out there. You should have just chosen a better acronym.
Yeah.
So to me now, you are the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yep.
Welcome to the Valence League Split 3. It's going to be a great time.
That's what we're going to do with it. I'm just going to give a different name every time until someone actually tells me what I've heard. Team Quee Dress Squad is a popular one among the community.
The King does squats.
Yeah, the Thick Kings do squats.
Oh, wow.
That
That just reminds me of all the exercise segments during the Final Fantasy VII games.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Maybe that's what they actually, because Quee is obviously the sound that Chocobos make, but they are in fact just big Final Fantasy fans, a lot of them. Before all of that, good news, ladies and gents. We're back into Pick and Ban.
Yes, and the last time we saw Horizon Light was during their loss in the finals. And if I were to give a dramatic retelling of that, it would be,
we're trying to get past Sacramentum, but we're getting so clapped that the guards keep getting alerted.
You heard it from Solid Snake there, who joined us just momentarily.
Oh, yeah, he's a good friend of ours. Good friend.
Yeah, and it was a bit rough. We saw Jaded's legendary talent come out, but it wasn't enough to pull them over the line.
Oh, true.
Early games.
I think it was the first time he played it, almost the whole split.
Yeah, he just hadn't been allowed it. Speaking of not being allowed, it's banned out here. And, you know, before we go too much further,
which is surprising. It's surprising for me, right? Because obviously Talon's a steel type, and having a Charmander on your team, you'd expect them to have that type matchup.
That's a good thought. You know, the type matchup would have been great, but sadly, we're not playing Pokemon. We're playing League of Legends.
All my prep is ruined. How could you do this?
You're the color caster, man. I'm not here to tell you how to prep. All right, so Horizon Light over on the blue side, and that'll be Fat Man Gandhi in the top lane, Mithy in the jungle, Jaded in mid lane, upcoming Uzi in the bot lane, and of course Clifton Gazium as the support player.
Volibear first lock-in. That is a flex pick between two roles. Actually, can be played bot lane against around a Senna as well. So some options there. It's been nerfed in the jungle.
Yes, it
has.
has.
The W regen and then the base attack speed stops your clear being quite so healthy and being quite as fast as well. Can still be played very effectively in the top lane though, but it will be up against such a high dominance bot lane in the 2v2 Ashe Karma.
Yeah, Ashe Karma is so damn strong right now. And of course, it will be TKDS who are picking that up with Daddy J, Charmander Nerd, Quee, Just Weasel, and Not the Messiah. We're so pressed for time in this round first, trying to get everything out in the right place, but we've seen the response. Actually, straight back up from Horizon Light, we've gone towards their old reliable of Caitlyn.
Captain, and speaking of Horizon Light, of course, we'll go down the lineup there as well. Fat Man Gandhi, Mithy, Jaded, upcoming Uzi, and Clifton Gazium.
That's great. Not to put you under the pot there, but you know who I started off going down the roster with? And then you went on talking about drafting. It was great. It was the reason I was like, okay, we've split it up, we've sandwiched it, we've refreshed it. It's been great.
Oh, that's what happens. You know, the players take a break, we take a break, our minds take a little bit of
break.
Back.
That's the one.
And what also has come back is
Zyra.
Wow.
Yeah, that's fun.
It's been floating around the meta for a little bit, but it looks like this Karma might be flexed into the mid lane, and Morgana might be put bot. However, this could also be a Morgana mid, and the Karma goes bot.
It could be Karma top. It could be a third support.
Yeah, no, it could be. I don't think Karma top is great versus the Volibear, unfortunately.
Sure.
I also think that Ashe is going to struggle to deal with Volibear in some of the team fights, particularly if you launch your ult at him and he ults, he goes unstoppable. It means absolutely jack squat. He gets on top of you and starts stunning you and taking all your HP as damage.
And that's always the risk with an Ashe. You are an immobile AD carry. You have no dashes, you have no escapes outside of a flash and a heal. And yeah, your ult's pretty good CC, but that's it. That's when you've gotten some slows.
Sure.
So you do have to be aware of people like Volibear just jumping in.
However, you do have two peel supports for you. The Karma and Morgana, that's something. However, if they don't lock in a secondary threat, either a brawler from the top lane, of course, that Darius being removes one of those options. You're waiting on this Ashe to carry your team, but if the Ashe gets picked off, you don't have a leg to stand on.
Just looking here at TKDS's bans and just huge focus towards Jaded, who has been a real focal point for this squad when they do want to get ahead. Talon, Corki, and Caston all off the table. Pretty big ticket carries.
However, with the 3 picks locked in right now, with the Volibear and Zyra and the Caitlyn getting so much zoning, if you have a hard carry mid laner, they are going to run rampant in these team fights. It's not just the Caitlyn you have to be worried about. If you pick something like that Corki with that range advantage, you could sit there pretty much undisturbed throughout the entirety of a team fight.
And just something else I do want to call out is that Diana ban there. It's just something that Charmander Nerd put a lot of time into in solo queue.
True, yeah.
From what I can see from the OP.GGs, Charmander is not generally a jungler. It's not normally where they like to play. They're more of that kind of mid lane. They're like the Diana, the Azir. And it's interesting to see that band away, considering that's what they do put time into.
So, yeah, and you're right, there's the Azir's high up there, although there isn't too many OPGG stats for that particular guy. Only got 19 on his most played. It's almost like my OPGG right now. I've not really spent much time in solo queue at all this year.
That's unusual. You got yourself to diamond and said that's enough for me right now.
I had better things to focus on, like learning how to words.
Learning how to words is an eloquent way of putting it. I wish I'd come up with that phrase. Instead, we have to talk about Horizon Light picking themselves up what looks like an Orianna here, but the swift switch over to Kled has been a bit of a staple here in the VLPL in general.
It has been, because we've had a number of players be large proponents of that pick. This Ornn being put in really signals the disengage, keep the enemy team at arm's length, and let's just peel for the Ashe. And now you have the Ornn upgrades coming in later to the game. Just Weasel has got everything put on their shoulders. One last pick to come in, though. It might be a carry jungler, but it will be against a CC mid laner at least. Flicking over to Lissandra, flicking back to the Nico as the final lock-in. It will be there. Lots of CC in these team fights. The Wombo is there from Horizon Light.
Yeah. Definitely is. And Caitlyn sits in the back line. Zyra and Nico throw up the area effects. Volibear and Claire jump in. Sounds pretty good to me as far as a plan for a team comp. Last pick here, though, for Thick Kings Do Squats. It's looking like a Karthus jungle, buddy.
It is. Karthus was kind of buffed on this patch. He doesn't have as quick a clear speed, which was one of his strongest points about the jungle.
Huge.
However, they upped his AP ratio on the Q, which means when you do come to those team fights, he is a secondary carry, and the Q has a really long range on Karthus. And it's also untargeted. You can check bushes with it, and you can do a lot of AoE damage to people clump up as well. If Karthus is given enough space, much like the Ashe, when you've got the Ornn ult peeling for you, got the Calm shields, the binds from Morgana, and of course the Black Shield too, the Karthus and the Ashe are looking to deal lots of damage from range and keep these high DPS team fights into the late game.
And outside of really, like, Kled and Volibear have HP, but Nico, Caitlyn, and Zyra, particularly that support Zyra, are inevitably going to be very squishy in this game. And a Requiem on top of a fair amount of poke from a Morgana Karma, a little bit of Ashe damage as well, and that Requiem suddenly becomes an execute.
I think early lane, going back to that Zyra, going back to that Caitlyn stuff, because on the other side of it, yes, they are easy to take down if you land the burst damage, and the Ashe ult lands something like that. Of course, the Ashe was the counter to Zyra back in Season 6. You'd fire the ult off, and you had the Misfortune support, which would then just layer up the final damage. Having a Karthus as a similar, you get the idea, right? The Ashe sets up for the follow-up, and then having that from the jungle instead of the support is one way you can deal with that. I think that Zyra, a lot of the time, can beat Morgana in lane, because you can react to the binding, put some plants up in front of it, that tanks the binding, and your damage from range can go through minion waves, as opposed to Morgana's Q having to, go around it. The Torment Assault, you don't put too many points into as a support, because it's just a mana drain early.
So you heard how that matchup's supposed to go. Of course, these are squishy support characters. People get caught in the wrong positions, and people can die.
One bind loses or wins this lane. If it's onto the Morgan, then a Caitlyn trap comes in before the Black Shield's up. That person takes most of their HP. If it's a binding landing onto Zyra, who then has to take up Ashe's range's focus and the volleys, that is also going to be most of your HP bar gone. It's about the skill shot accuracy, how people are positioning around waves, and how these individually what otherwise might be inconsequential trades end up leading to something bigger coming later into the laning phase.
Yeah, okay. So this bot lane in general sounding like a point of focus. I'm looking around at some other potential interesting matchups. I imagine Karma Nico is going to be a little bit bad, just pushing waves, but Kled, on the other hand, may well be looking to try and get something out of the Ornn early, but Ornn exactly is no slouch at early trade, despite him being kind of ostensibly a tank.
If I loaded into this game in Mithy's position as the Volibear, I'd be looking at these lanes and thinking, okay, at what point in the game can I gank these lanes, if at all? I think that you can gank the Karma. However, if you do get counter-ganked, it gets the shield, turns it around, the ult W comes through for the heal. You maybe don't want to commit to that unless she's very much overextended and you have a good angle. In top lane, however, if you manage to time your approach, so Daddy J on the Ornn doesn't have his Bellows Breath to ignore a CC or the Searing Charge to get that extra distance, the escape in its own way, then that's probably the easiest lane to gank because it is that 2v1 gank potential in a long lane. That's what I'm thinking. But then, of course, it's actually a plethora of options,
Yeah,
right?
Caitlyn
Because
Zyra's
Caitlyn
pretty
Zyra
good,
has
yeah.
that huge CC potential. And post 6, if you can just go through the binding, go through the Ashel with your ultimate and be unstoppable,
Own wreck of that turret.
you own wreck of the turret, you can try and bait out the Black Shield, and then maybe have Zyra getting a root on someone else. That is such a high kill lane because those two characters in the bot lane for TKDS are very squishy.
Yeah, and on the other side, for Pokemon Trainer Red, or at least Charmander Nerd, what's the Cartha's role in all of this? Obviously, we know what Volibear wants to do. He's going to be looking to set up some of those ganks. Cartha's, though, what's their role here? Just trying to farm up and hit 6? Or are you looking to try and counter gank or find your own with the Wall of Pain?
So we've got Charmander at level 1, there's Charmeleon at level 6, and it's Charizard. Carthazard at level 11 forwards. Once you get like a Leandries on top of that, and then I don't know whether you can reach the Mega. Maybe if you get Elder Dragon, that's when you get like Mega Charizard X. Yeah. It is. So we're loading this game.
Yeah,
it's cool. That's nice. I have no idea whether we're going to a break.
No,
right
no,
now,
no,
we're just
no,
talking. We'll be talking completely over this until we get told otherwise.
Yeah,
that's great.
It's fine by me. Again, it's been one of those things where we're told one way or another, like if there's videos, if there's not, as we go. At the minute,
And you know what I'm going to do during this break? I'm going to take a sip out of my Valence League mug.
So am I.
You know, they say that we're unpaid casters, and that's not quite true because at least we get some merch.
We get the merch, and it's beautiful merch. Actually, it's
beautiful.
really nice. Do you know where you find this merch? I don't know where you'd go to find it.
I don't know whether I could, sink to that level where I would be
selling out a little bit.
It would be selling out quite a bit.
I don't know who would do
but if I was going to sell out, I'd go to gamersapparel.co.uk /store/Valence. I mean, but I wouldn't do that.
No,
but if
I
I did want to sell out,
it would be very unprofessional.
Yeah, but if I, just saying, like,
if you were going to sell out, if for a good cause, then maybe that's what I would do.
But you didn't hear from me.
No. So that Gamer Apparel website, I would just never go to.
Yeah, no.
And in fact, it's Gamers Apparel. It's apparel for multiple games at once.
Ah, lovely. Gamers. See, I just that's why I'm not selling out. I'm giving you the wrong URL. I'm just covering my bases.
He's selling out on selling out. That's pretty poor, man.
Covering my bases,
But we wouldn't do that because we don't.
Next time I'm gonna leave my PayPal link.
Venmo Nymera for casting privileges. Well,
feed your casters, folks. Feed your casters. Don't feed your lanes.
Don't feed your junglers. That's what you want to do.
I have to say, if Volibear gets fed in this game,
there is real trouble.
I think if Misty gets really far ahead, this is problematic for the side of TKDS.
I mean, it would become 1,000 kill Volibear, and that's
1,000. So TKDS is 1,000 kill
donated
soon. 1,000 kill donated soon.
1,000 kills donated soon. That's what it is.
So,
and it's only if they lose a lot of games.
So wait. So if you say that even a long game, so the longest game of League of Legends was about 90 minutes or something, right?
Professional.
Yeah, professional. Yeah, 90 minutes.
I remember
to get
watching
1,000 kills, you'd need 10 kills a minute for 100 minutes. And I actually don't think its respawn timers could ever account for that. You could literally not do that.
It would have to be longer than 100 minutes because
you'd have
the death times would be over a minute.
But then I'm trying to remember if there's like but then I think you can't do that because eventually when the game patches, you'd have to do it over. Maybe if you could do it over a couple of weeks, if you could keep a game going for it, but then the game would just end.
But so you don't have to. But it's not kill per minute, right? It's just we just after 1,000 kills.
Yeah, but the problem is once you reach such a high level, your respawn timer goes up. So again, kind of like the amount of kills. Do you
reach like a singularity of kill to minute ratio in League?
I think that's called Division 4 of Valence League.
Right. So we're just
so we're on the Event Horizon. We're on the Event Horizon Light.
That's brilliant. There you go. So the problem is if you go beyond Horizon Light, you find the black hole of Division 4. Where all teams go to die repeatedly and give us 1,000 kill games.
That's how it goes.
We've discovered it. Physics lesson here from our physics graduate Alexander Hapkins, and we are onto the game. We're syncing up at 10 seconds.
So yes, production. We have paused 10 seconds. If you could do the same, then count us in. That would be lovely. Yes, we are so ready. I'm ready for 100 kills a minute.
And let the games begin and the kill fiesta follow on. not be ancient Rome, but this will do for a Colosseum of blood and glory. We've known the Raven, though, which is a bit of a shame.
But Sam, maybe we will get that multiple week-long game because, of course, if you're talking about Rome wasn't built in a day.
Fell in one, and I'll have to see whether this game will do the
No,
same.
that's not quite true.
It's not
because
quite
the
true.
Palatine Hill was never taken. as far
Was
as I know.
Palatine Hill never
They
taken?
besieged. Well, I mean, when the Goths and Visigoths raided Rome, and the sacking of Rome, I'm pretty sure that like the Palatine Hill survived for longer.
Well. So again, the Palatine Hill is where the
Yeah.
the Emperor of Rome lived. It was a very pretty hill. Nero had some stupid palaces made of gold and that kind of thing. So there you go. There's your history lesson from the Hapgood brothers. Casting and teaching you
See,
history.
I only
on
know
what?
about
See?
Nero from Fate. Fate the Fate series.
We're moving over to anime now.
That's. I mean, when am I not?
When you, yeah, that's a good point. And I'm the one who lived in Japan, and this is what I had to deal with.
Yeah.
Honestly, actual degenerate Alexander Nymer Hapgood.
Yep. It's not even actual degenerate Shia LaBeouf. It's even worse. I don't even get a song about it. Can someone make a song about it?
I'll write you one. You won't like it very much.
I don't like anything you write, Sam.
Ow! And I just had my voice recovered from recording vocals earlier. I didn't need that.
And that is all she wrote.
It's not over till the fat lady sings release the play-by-play.
Well, Fat Man Gandhi will have to sing this game. That's the closest we've got.
Yeah, indeed. And the puns will continue as we go on, but junglers have started off with their buffs, namely both blue buffs from opposite sides of the map. That means that Caitlyn and Zyra get first access to the wave because
that's
they
big.
did not leash.
That's pretty big.